My favorite comic book character is Storm. She was the first comic book character I met, really, and the first superhero, even in cartoon form that I saw that looked like me. And up until meeting her at age 11, I had never seen a black woman superhero. So when I saw a commercial for X-Men and I saw this, white-haired, white-eyed black woman flying around throwing lightning at people, I was like, I need to know more about her. Hi, my name is Arielle Johnson, and I'm the owner of Amalgam Comics and Coffee House located in Philadelphia. My inspiration for opening the store actually came from the loss of a community space. My Friday routine was to go to my local comic shop and then go to this really dope coffee shop across the street from the comic book store called Crimson Moon, and that's where I would sit. I'd get like a hot chocolate and a piece of cake and just kind of chill out and read all the books that I'd bought that week. And what ended up happening is the coffee shop closed. So after I got my books each week from my local shop, I didn't have anywhere to go after. And for me, it wasn't as simple as finding another coffee shop, because everything about Crimson Moon, the space that the owner, her name was Coco, created, it just felt like a home away from home. So it wasn't as easy as like, oh, just find somewhere else. It was like, no, because I couldn't find another space that kind of gave me everything that I got from that particular shop. So that's when I got the idea, just kind of a thought, thinking like, man, it would be cool if you didn't have to find another space outside of the comics book store to be your community space. What if the comic book store itself was also a community space, meaning, had seating, had food options so people could have prolonged visits. So that was like the kind of the beginning of it. I became interested in comic books through my love of Storm.
Storm, mistress of the elements, commands you to release that child.
Lighten up on the speeches, sugar.
Was introduced to her character from the Fox television show that came on in the 90s. And it was my interest in her character that kind of prompted me to venture into the world of comic books, because I wanted to learn more about her specifically. And I knew she was a comic book character, so I figured if I wanted to know more about her, I needed to actually read comic books. So I started reading comic books in high school, so maybe around 16 or so. And I started buying my own comic books and started collecting when I was in college, so probably maybe 19 or 20. So I did get like a later start as far as comics themselves were concerned, but again, I've always liked superheroes and superpowers, and so again, being introduced to Storm through a cartoon, which of course I watched as a younger person, and I still watch them now, that it was kind of the gateway into like my love of comics. So the nice thing about being an entrepreneur and owning my own business and being my own boss is I have more freedom of expression in my 9-to-5 life, especially because I had a accounting focused job. I had to be very conservative, in my look. So I spent most of the time wearing like what I call cosplay, but like cosplay I didn't want to wear, just kind of going to work in a costume for me, because I don't like suits, and I don't like loafers and dress pants. Like I understand there's a time and place for certain things, but in my general everyday life, it's like that's not how I wanted to express myself. So fear is a natural part of life, and especially if you're doing something out of your comfort zone, or something new, or it's something kind of uncharted for you, and it's easy to kind of let fear overwhelm you, and you decide to kind of back off of the thing you want to do and do the safe thing. Because there's no risk of failure, there's no, risk of embarrassment, or whatever is the thing that it kind of wells up in you when you think about doing that risky thing. But I would say, you really do have to be in the right mindset for it, because it's not, even working through fear, you're going to, money's going to be tight, and bad things are going to happen, and so you kind of have to build yourself up to withstand all of that, so that when those things happen, you don't immediately retreat and say this was a bad idea and kind of back out. You kind of have to plant your feet in for the long haul. For me personally, what kind of alleviated that fear is the fact that again, I have such a strong support system with my family, so I know that at the end of the day, I will never be homeless. Which gives me some freedom to kind of take a chance. Of course, I don't want to ever get to that point where I have to move back home, or need them to provide for me or whatever. But knowing that I have that support from them, for me, kind of emboldens me to do it, because it's like at the end of the day, I know I have like them to catch me. I think it's significant being a Black entrepreneur at this time, because I feel like as Black people, we are kind of going through another renaissance, where we're understanding, not that we didn't always understand it, but just kind of with the events that are happening. And again, things that have always been happening, but now because of camera phones and things like this, it's just more in your face, and it's harder to sweep it under the rug. We're kind of getting kind of like a harsh reminder of why it's important for us to own things. It's like why it's important for us to own our own spaces, own our own businesses, so that we can work to change things, because the way everything works in this country, it's like monetary based. So when you don't have any resources, when you don't have any money, it's harder to affect change, because you don't have any power. So again, opening your own businesses and being in control and having like resources to reinvest into your community is like so important. Also the visibility of it, seeing people that look like you make you realize that you can do that too. So again, for me with Storm, I had never seen a Black woman superhero before. So when I would watch shows with superheroes in it, I never ever imagined myself in those roles. I always felt like I was watching someone else's adventure. But with Storm, I felt like I could be a superhero. It's like, she's me. And so again, it just kind of changed just the way I perceived the world in a way. And so I think that's true, when both young and old, Black people see Black entrepreneurs or Black people kind of excelling in their field or whatever that it is. It's an encouragement. It's proof that you can do that too, and you can be who you are. Movies like Hidden Figures, where we were talking about the Black women like behind the scenes that were doing the math calculations to make trips into space possible. Again, and for Black people, it's like we're never necessarily encouraged in the STEM fields, with this idea of like, oh, that's, we can't be smart in that way, or having interest in those things makes you a nerd or uncool or whatever. And then you see movies like that and you realize how awesome that is. And it's like how, those women, it's like they have these like huge accomplishments and we didn't even know about them. And then you have to ask, well, why didn't you know about them? It's because it's power in knowing, to be able to name those women and other women that and other men that have done these fantastic things, and to be able to put a face and a name to it. empowers the rest of us to pursue what we want to pursue and achieve what we want to achieve. So I think all of that is kind of important, as we grow and support Black businesses. It's like, there's more at stake than just like owning a business. It's like it's empowerment for all of us. So to anyone out there who is an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, a person of color, a woman of color, I would just encourage you to keep pushing. It's not an easy process. It's not going to be, but just because it's hard and you come up against obstacles doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. But anytime you're birthing something that's hard, it doesn't come easy. It's not you thought about it and the next day, it was fully realized. It was like, no, it takes time. You have to cultivate it. You have to work on it. You have to suffer through it. It's not always going to be this pretty thing. And then even once, you achieve it and you get your business off the ground, even then it's not going to be this easy thing. Money is going to be tight. You'll be looking at your bank account, you'll be looking at your bills and wondering, why you did any of it. So I would just encourage you to kind of keep your eye on the larger goal. Remember what you're working towards, and remember that you might not see it now, but it's coming. You're sowing, and eventually you will reap. But you have to put time in. You have to, like I said, suffer through it. You have to work through it. But it is completely possible, and I would just encourage you to stay encouraged and surround yourself with people that love you and care about you and can hold you up in the times where you feel down, because you'll definitely feel that way. So having a network of people who are there to buoy you when you need it, definitely depend on them, lean on them, feel what you're feeling. If you're upset, if you're depressed, if you're crying, feel those things. Like bottling them up doesn't do anything. So process that, let yourself feel those things, and then after you've kind of purged those emotions, get back to work. You can have those moments, but you can't stay there, because if you stay there, then you're not going to be successful. You have to let yourself feel it and then move forward. So I would just encourage you to just keep moving. It's always going to be a fight. Even when you quote unquote make it, it's still a fight and a lot of work behind it, but it's definitely worth it. I don't regret anything about this process, or starting and opening this business, even through the things that were a little less pleasant. I definitely am still I feel very blessed and happy that I was able to make this happen, and I'm thankful for every day that we're in business, and no matter how hectic or stressful the day is, at the end of it, at the root of it, I'm still thankful. So it's definitely worth the time and effort. So just stay encouraged. My name is Arielle Johnson, and I am a Black boss.